Whew. Oh my goodness. My husband would say, well, the lighting is terrible because he's all about lighting. But I wanted to just go on and record a few things that the Lord has kind of downloaded to me in this time. And I don't want to record a video because that has to be edited. And later I'll get Bill to fix the lighting for the future. This is you can't see her, but this is my Joy. Her name is Joy. She's named for a prayer partner of mine that I had for 15 years who died. And when we got this dog, I just decided to name her Joy. So, and she's a border collie. And so she's full of energy and she's always wanting to run. And actually, she has been the source of not only a lot of joy, but great exercise for me. I had almost stopped exercising, and then we got Joy, and I walk about 7 or 8 miles a day. And it actually keeps me in shape. But I wanted to share a few things with you because I have a tendency to do this. So the Lord was pointing this out to me. And I apologize for having to read it, but I like to read it as the Lord gave it to me. I don't want to paraphrase it or whatever. And what he said to me was, when you are hurt and you share your pain with someone in order to gain their sympathy, and don't we do that? Don't we do that a lot when we are in pain? And I'm not necessarily talking about physical pain, but emotional pain. Or, somebody did us wrong, or we're having a hard time at work, or whatever it is. You are, in essence, solidifying your pain because they are affirming your right to be in pain. I'm not talking about a therapist or something like that, but you go running to your friends and say, so-and-so hurt me and this is horrible. And they go, you're right. And you should be hurt. You should be angry. What you're doing is solidifying your pain and thereby giving the enemy permission to badger you with it and remind you of it. Every time you share your pain, you are cementing it in yourself, because this goes with the where 2 or 3 agree on anything. And when you are agreeing on anything, when you're agreeing on victimhood, when you're agreeing on, I'm in pain, when you're agreeing on this is unfair, whatever it is, then you are cementing your own pain and you're giving the enemy permission to continue to badger with you. And you're just going to go through the cycle and cycle and cycle. And he says, but if you give me the pain, because I died for it anyway, sorry, I have to change the page. I feel like a pianist or something. Then let it go. Let me take it and heal your soul of it. Then you can be free of it. Then get someone to agree with you that you are free, because this will also solidify your freedom. If the Lord frees you of something and you go running to somebody and say, God freed me of this, it does the same thing with the freedom that he is saying it did with the pain. You go to your friend and you have your pain solidified, but then when you're free, you go to your friend and you have your freedom solidified, have it cemented in him. And so thereby the change is permanent. That was a revelation to me, because I did not realize when I would run to my friends and talk about my boss or talk about this situation or that what I was doing was actually solidifying my situation. It's a very, very difficult thing to grasp, but it is very important for all of us to realize that that's what we are doing, and what we need to do is just the opposite. We talk about life and death is in the tongue, etc. But there's also the principle of agreement. And I think one of the things that a lot of people are dealing with right now, in particular, or at least this was true for me, one of the things that people seem to be dealing with is church hurt. A lot of us have been hurt by church. We've been passed over. We have been not used when we should have been used. Some of us have been used to the point of being abused. And I'm not talking about sexual abuse or whatever, but I mean, a lot of times people get into this mindset that, oh, so and so will do it, so and so will take care of it. And a lot of times there's a very qualified person to do something that gets overlooked because of whatever reason. Sometimes it's jealousy, sometimes it's prejudice, sometimes it's whatever it is, but they're overlooked when they have absolutely the ability. And so there are a lot of people walking around hurt. And the Lord said to me, many of my children are what I call the walking wounded. They've been hurt by the very place that is supposed to be healing, but I am going to heal these ones and raise them up to be powerful in my kingdom, powerful in pulling down strongholds. They have been crucified with me, and they have been through the fire, afraid to get involved in another church. But I say no more. No more will they be rejected and dismissed. For I will raise them up to be my warriors for such a time as this, because you have been forged in my fire, and I am the fourth man in the fire. So if that's you, I want you to take hope. I want you to have hope in the fact that if you have been church hurt, and this is what he was talking about, you've been church hurt, there is hope. And I know I'm jumping from subject to subject, but I have a lot of things that I wanted to get out there. One of them is, one of the things I'm dealing with right now is hope deferred, because I've had a lot of promises that I'm still waiting for. And it's hard. That's a very hard place to be. And the Lord said, hope deferred makes one sick. Sick in heart, mind, and body, because your whole self is ready for God's will. This goes along with the scripture that says the earth groaned. The earth is groaning for the revelation of the sons of God. So too are you groaning for God's will in your life. So you suffer through a delay. You suffer through the delay, but through the delay, you either become stronger or weaker. So you either give up and get discouraged, or you get stronger. You get stronger in waiting. You get stronger in saying, it's not time yet, but it is coming. So you go one way or another. If you get stronger in your delay, in waiting and hope deferred, if you grow stronger, then the end is going to be even better. In other words, the delayed answer, if the answer is delayed, then what you were waiting for is going to be better if you grow through the waiting. Because what you did was you waited longer, because there's a reason why it says hope deferred. God is affirming to us, affirming to you that sometimes things get delayed. And sometimes they're delayed for reasons, we don't know. Usually we don't know. Sometimes it's because God's waiting on somebody else to do what he's asked them to do. And he's given them a chance to be obedient unto him, because he wants them to get the blessing of being obedient. And so you're waiting for them to be obedient. I don't really know what your situation is. I just know that I have been there, and I have I have waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. And some of the things I'm still waiting for. And some things I've been waiting for over 50 years. But God said they would happen. And so you've been forged in fire, and your willingness to keep believing, to keep waiting, to keep hoping. And then suddenly the fourth man in the fire shows up, rescues you, and you come out triumphant, and you come out not smelling like smoke. You do not even smell like smoke, because nothing should cling to you from the fire. You will, and nothing about you will be like that. It will be as if it never happened, and you are completely whole and healed. Being hope deferred is really, really hard. That's why it says it makes one sick. It makes the heart sick. So whatever you're waiting for will be bigger. It will be grander. It will be it will be great. And there's what time? How long? Okay, 10 minutes. I'm just sharing these things. I know they're totally out of context, but I hope that some of them have meaning to you. I'm we got this border collie because God told us to get this dog, and I had to walk and walk and walk and walk, especially when she was a puppy and I'm training her, and I'm spending a lot of time with her, and it was hard and it was cold and it was all these things. And all of a sudden I was at church, and this goes along with the hope deferred and waiting on the Lord and being obedient. And I saw myself walking. And where we live, I walk on a gravel road. So I saw myself walking, and um, I said to myself, well, I'm just going to pray while I walk, which is what I did. And I was praying and praying. And while I was walking, suddenly I heard myself, and all these things are true. Suddenly I heard myself saying, Lord, these rocks hurt my feet. But you kept walking. And then I said, Lord, it is so hot outside, but I kept walking. Lord, it's raining so hard, but I kept walking. Lord, it's freezing out here, but I kept walking. Lord, my legs hurt, but I kept walking. And the Lord said, you kept walking. Even when it was hot or cold, your knees hurt, you kept walking. Because you kept taking care of something precious to me. You kept going. You didn't stop. It hurt. You were cold. You were hot. But you kept walking because I had asked you to do that. And it was that reason why you endured that. You endured the cold. You endured the rocks. You endured the pain. And you just kept going. And the Lord said, you were obedient. And I say, well done. And you still don't know why. You still don't know why I called you to that. You still don't know why I asked you to get joy. You still don't understand. But you kept going. And I asked it of you. It made no sense. But you did it. And you will be rewarded for your obedience. And I think some of you are probably continuing to walk. You're continuing to do something God asked you to do. You're continuing to stay in a situation that is difficult. It's painful. It's hot. You're tired. But you do it because you're obedient unto Him. And if you are obedient unto Him and you keep going, you will reap the reward of the pain that you have endured for just being obedient. And sometimes God asks us to do things that we do not understand. We just don't understand at all. I have another dog, and the Lord asked me if I was willing to give her to somebody else. I love her. I still miss her. But yes, Lord, I'm willing to do it. And I did. And she's been such a blessing to this family. So that is a very interesting thing for Him to ask. And it's something that I've learned about the Lord is that He cares about pets. He cares about dogs, cats, all these pets. He cares about these things. And so it's been very interesting to me how He has spoken to me through Joy in particular. And one day I'm walking around. It's a beautiful area, but I'm a little worried about copperheads. And so I'm kind of looking down, and I just sort of said, Lord, I can't enjoy this view because I'm looking down. And He said, pick up your head. And I picked up my head, and I saw the back end of my beautiful dog and realized that she was going before me. God always goes before me, before us. She would take any danger. Any copperheads would get her. They would not get me. That sounds like a selfish thing to say, but it was an illustration of how God goes before us and clears the way of anything. In any case, I'm sorry that I'm turning these pages, but I've tried to get someplace that where the Lord shared a lot with me. I went to an event, and recently, and I had some experiences with God with that. I might talk about that a little later because I haven't quite gotten my head around it. But one of the things that the Lord has said to me personally about this time that we're in, where we're talking about restoring all things. If the enemy stole something, he has to replace it tenfold. Some people say sevenfold. Some people say tenfold. I have to look up the scriptures on that, both of those. But one of the things the Lord was saying to me was, when you, because I've lost a lot of things. I've lost jobs. I've lost money. I've lost, things that I held dear. And I would say, gosh, I lost all this stuff, and the enemy needs to pay it. It needs to be restored. When is this going to happen? And the Lord said to me, don't lament that you lost things, money, whatever, positions. Rejoice that you lost them, because I cannot restore what wasn't lost, but I can restore what was lost. And when I restore what was lost, it will be better than had you gotten it in the first place or hadn't lost it. And I just thought, God cannot restore what hasn't been lost. So I rejoice in all of the things I've lost, and there have been many. It's jobs, positions, etc. Anyway, if any of that blessed you, let me know. I get these downloads from the Lord, and I have some stories that I want to share later about things that He said. I'm sitting on the fence about some of it because I don't want to give away who it's about, and that's going to be hard for me to do. So I have to figure out a way to do that. In any case, don't stop praying for President Trump. Don't stop praying for the United States of America. God bless you. God bless President Trump. And thank you for listening.